Welcome to Deep Dive. Today, we're uncovering surprising reasons for constant busyness. If you've wondered how some get more done in less time, even with distractions, stay tuned. We'll explore 5 hidden habits secretly sabotaging your effectiveness habits you might see as strengths. Stick around to recognize these productivity killers, unlock a new level of focus and achievement. Let's dive in. What if I told you that the reason you feel constantly busy but never truly productive comes down to just 5 specific habits? These aren't the obvious distractions everyone talks about. They're sneaky behaviors that feel like being responsible while actually destroying your effectiveness. I'm about to reveal these 5 productivity assassins in countdown format. Each one is more surprising than the last, and the top one is something you probably consider a strength. Once you see these habits for what they really are, everything about your workday will make sense. Number 5, not setting clear daily goals. Picture this. You wake up tomorrow morning and immediately start thinking about everything you need to accomplish. You know you have emails to handle, that project to work on, some calls to make, and a few other tasks floating around in your head. You feel organized because you're mentally reviewing your responsibilities. But here's what's actually happening. You're setting yourself up for a day of scattered, unfocused work. This mental planning feels productive because your brain is actively thinking about work before you even get out of bed. The problem is that thinking about work and planning work are completely different activities. When you rely on vague mental reminders instead of specific written goals, you're forcing your brain into decision-making mode from the moment you start working. Your brain struggles with unclear objectives because it constantly has to figure out what comes next. Every time you finish a small task, you face the same question. What should I do now? This creates decision fatigue before you've accomplished anything meaningful. Instead of using your mental energy for actual work, you're burning it on constant micro-decisions about priorities and next steps. Most people spend their first productive hour of the day just figuring out what to do. They check emails to see what feels urgent, review their calendar to remember what's coming up, and try to piece together a plan from scattered thoughts. Meanwhile, people who write down 3 specific tasks the night before start working immediately. They wake up knowing exactly what they'll tackle first, second, and third. There's a massive difference between knowing you need to work on the project and knowing you need to finish the introduction section of the presentation by 10 a.m. The first goal requires additional decision-making every time you sit down to work. The second goal eliminates those decisions entirely. Vague planning creates a false sense of productivity because you feel busy jumping between different tasks and priorities. You might spend all day working, but you accomplish very little because your energy gets fragmented across multiple incomplete activities. Every time you stop to decide what to do next, you're spending mental energy that could be used for actual work. These constant micro-decisions add up to significant mental fatigue by the end of the day. The fix takes 5 minutes each evening. Write down exactly what you'll do first thing tomorrow morning. This simple practice eliminates the morning decision paralysis that kills your most productive hours and transforms scattered thinking into focused action. Number 4, trying to multitask everything. Most people believe that juggling multiple tasks at once makes them more efficient and productive. This belief runs so deep that we wear multitasking like a badge of honor, proudly telling others how we answered emails. Multitasking feels impressive and important because it creates the sensation that you're getting more done in less time. The brain science behind multitasking reveals something completely different from what we experience. When you think you're multitasking, your brain doesn't actually process multiple tasks simultaneously. Instead, it rapidly switches between tasks, losing focus each time it makes the transition. This switching happens so quickly that it creates the illusion of simultaneous processing. But each switch comes with a hidden cost. Research shows it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully refocus after switching tasks. Every time you jump from your email to a phone call to a document, your brain needs time to re-engage with the new activity. This means those quick email checks during meetings aren't just brief interruptions. They're 23-minute productivity killers that fragment your entire day. Multitasking creates more mistakes, increases stress levels, and makes simple tasks take much longer to complete. your brain struggles to maintain accuracy when constantly switching between different types of information. The cognitive strain of managing multiple streams of attention leads to errors that require additional time to fix, creating a cycle of inefficiency. Consider someone who multitasks through their morning routine, checking emails while on a client call, while reviewing quarterly reports. They feel busy and important, but their email responses are unclear. They miss key points in the conversation, and they have to reread the same report sections multiple times. Compare this to someone who blocks 30 minutes for emails, 45 minutes for the call, and 60 minutes for the report review. Multitasking feels productive because it creates constant activity, but it actually trains your brain to have shorter attention spans. The more you switch between tasks, the harder it becomes to focus on any single activity for extended periods. The alternative approach involves time blocking, where you dedicate specific periods to one type of task. Instead of answering emails throughout the day, you might block 2 30-minute email sessions. This method eliminates the constant switching that drains mental energy. Single tasking can cut your work time in half while dramatically improving the quality of your output. When you focus all your cognitive resources on one task, you complete it faster and with fewer errors than when your attention gets divided across multiple activities. Number 3, being a perfectionist. Wanting to do good work seems like a positive trait that should naturally boost your productivity. After all, having high standards and being thorough sounds like the recipe for success. Most people view their perfectionist tendencies as professional strengths that set them apart from others, who might rush through tasks or accept mediocre results. Perfectionism disguises itself as having high standards and being thorough, but it operates very differently from genuine quality focus. While quality-focused people know when something is good enough to move forward, perfectionists create impossible standards that can never truly be met. They convince themselves that just a little more tweaking, one more revision, or additional research will finally make their work acceptable. The hidden trap reveals itself through endless revision cycles that prevent you from finishing anything. You complete 90% of a project quickly, then spend weeks perfecting details that make minimal difference to the final outcome. These revision cycles become self-perpetuating because each small change reveals new imperfections that demand attention. Perfectionists often spend 80% of their time on the final 20% of a project. Tweaking minor details while major opportunities pass by, they might spend hours adjusting font sizes, rewording sentences for the 5th time, or researching additional sources for information they already have. This disproportionate time investment yields diminishing returns while preventing them from starting new projects. Perfectionism becomes procrastination when you delay starting because you're afraid the result won't be perfect. This fear creates a mental barrier where beginning feels pointless unless you can guarantee flawless execution. You spend more time preparing to start than actually working on the task itself. The all-or-nothing thinking makes perfectionists abandon projects if they can't do them flawlessly. Rather than accepting good results with minor imperfections, they scrap entire efforts and start over repeatedly. This pattern wastes enormous amounts of completed work because it doesn't meet impossible standards. Perfectionism kills creativity because you're too focused on avoiding mistakes to try new approaches. Innovation requires experimentation, which naturally involves some failed attempts. When mistake avoidance becomes the primary goal, you stick to safe, proven methods instead of exploring potentially better solutions. This creates analysis paralysis, where you research and plan extensively, but never actually execute. You convince yourself that more preparation will somehow eliminate the possibility of imperfection. But preparation becomes a form of sophisticated procrastination. The concept of good enough actually leads to better results through iteration. As Mark Twain noted, continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection. Completing projects allows you to learn from real feedback and improve future work. The mindset shift involves aiming for progress over perfection and setting deadlines for when you'll stop tweaking and start shipping your work to the world. Number 2, poor time management habits. Most people approach their day reactively, responding to whatever seems urgent in the moment. They wake up without a clear plan and let incoming emails, phone calls, and requests dictate how they spend their time. This reactive approach creates the illusion of being responsive and available, but it means you're constantly playing defense instead of making strategic progress on your goals. This creates false productivity where you stay busy all day, but feel like nothing important got accomplished. You answer dozens of emails, attend several meetings, and handle multiple requests, yet your most meaningful projects remain untouched. The day flies by in a blur of activity, leaving you exhausted but frustrated because you haven't moved closer to your real objectives. Poor time management creates a cycle of constant firefighting instead of strategic work. Every day becomes about putting out the latest crisis or handling whatever seems most urgent. You never get ahead of your workload because you're always reacting to immediate demands rather than proactively working on important long-term projects. People consistently overestimate how much they can accomplish in a day and underestimate how long tasks actually take. They pack their schedules with back-to-back commitments, leaving no buffer time for the unexpected delays that inevitably occur. This unrealistic planning sets them up for failure from the start. The hidden time wasters drain hours without providing real value. Unnecessary meetings that could have been emails, wasting valuable time. Constant email checking interrupts focused work and reduces productivity. Saying yes to every request that comes your way can lead to overload. These activities feel important because they involve other people and seem urgent, but they consume your most productive hours. Lack of boundaries makes you available for everyone else's priorities except your own. You become the person others can always interrupt, call, or assign last-minute tasks to because you haven't protected your time for your own work. Most people confuse urgent tasks with important ones. Urgent tasks demand immediate attention, but don't necessarily contribute to your goals. Important tasks move you closer to your objectives, but rarely feel urgent until deadlines approach. This confusion leads to spending most of your time on urgent but unimportant activities. Poor time management creates stress because you're always running behind and feeling overwhelmed. You start each day already behind schedule, which creates anxiety and makes it harder to focus on the work that actually matters. Time blocking involves scheduling specific periods for your most important work during your peak energy hours. The framework requires identifying your top 3 priorities each day and scheduling them first, before anything else can interfere with these critical tasks. Number 1. Ignoring your energy levels. Here's the most surprising productivity killer of all. Most people completely ignore their natural energy patterns when planning their day. We schedule meetings, tackle complex projects, and make important decisions, without considering whether our bodies and minds are actually ready to perform. Are we truly prepared to do our best during those times? We treat our energy like it's constant throughout the day, but it actually fluctuates dramatically based on our internal biological clocks. Your alertness, focus, and cognitive abilities rise and fall in predictable patterns. Yet most people plan their schedules as if they have the same capacity at 9 a.m. as they do at 3 p.m. or 7 p.m. People often schedule their most important work during their lowest energy periods. Without realizing it, they might force themselves to write reports during their afternoon energy crash, or they could schedule creative brainstorming sessions first thing in the morning when their minds haven't fully awakened yet. This misalignment creates unnecessary struggle and poor results. Chronotypes reveal that some people are naturally more productive in the morning, while others peak later in the day. Morning larks experience their sharpest focus and clearest thinking in the early hours, while night owls hit their stride in the afternoon or evening. Recognizing your chronotype allows you to work with your biology instead of against it. Trying to force productivity during low energy times leads to poor quality work and frustration. Tasks take longer to complete, mistakes increase, and you feel like you're working through mental fog. This creates a cycle where you doubt your abilities when the real problem is simply timing. Energy drains that people don't recognize include decision fatigue from making too many choices, emotional labor from managing difficult interactions, and context switching between different types of work. These factors deplete your cognitive resources faster than physical tasks, leaving you mentally exhausted even when you haven't been physically active. Ignoring energy levels leads to burnout because you're constantly fighting against your natural rhythms. This creates chronic stress as your body struggles to maintain performance during unsuitable times, eventually leading to reduced motivation and declining work quality. Successful people align their most challenging tasks with their peak energy windows. They schedule complex analysis during their sharpest hours and save routine tasks for when their energy naturally dips. Energy management proves more important than time management because it focuses on optimizing the quality of your work. It's about organizing your schedule around your natural energy peaks and valleys for maximum effectiveness. The game-changing strategy involves tracking your energy levels for 1 week, then redesigning your schedule to match your natural peaks and valleys. The biggest productivity killer isn't external distractions like your phone or social media. It's these 5 internal habits that feel responsible and professional. Vague planning makes you feel organized while keeping you scattered. Multitasking creates the illusion of efficiency while fragmenting your focus. Perfectionism disguises procrastination as high standards. Poor time management lets urgency override importance. Energy blindness forces you to work against your natural rhythms. Small changes to these habits can transform your entire work experience. Pick one habit to change this week and notice its impact on everything else. Your productivity breakthrough starts with recognizing these hidden patterns. Thank you so much for watching. If you found these tips helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to stay connected.